Hello and welcome to episode 4 of our Timberborn Update 7 Folktails Hard Mode playthrough here in Cycle 6, Day 1. Last time we did a bunch of expansion in terms of irrigation, farming, dam construction. Not anything huge quite yet, but still really big helpful things. And today we're going to continue that, as well as finally start making some progress toward, note I said progress toward, not utilization of, ziplines. Gonna take some time before we can actually do that, but we are really I think probably justifiable able to get to metal today if we're able to get a little bit more wood production going, a little bit more efficient wood production going, and get a couple more beavers working as well. I mean, it's right here. A couple of you pointed out just how simple it actually would be, provided, of course, we don't have any bad water issues, but I think we're going to be okay. All we'd have to do is really just build a couple stairs, get rid of these blockages here, just go straight through, and then make our way up over to this area. Because as soon as we have zip lines, or as soon as we have metal, rather, I just buried the lead in that sentence. As soon as we have metal, we're going to be able to get to zip lines faster than you might think. And once we have those set up, then that's really going to open up the entire map, pretty much. Because remember, with the zip lines, all you have to do is just build the stations and pylons and connect them. As long as it's in range and it's not too high or too low for the stuff to connect to whatever you're clicking from, then you're in perfect position to utilize it. And I really do want to use as much of this map as possible, or at the very least, get into the different areas, because a lot of the time, due to the nature of how these series tend to operate, and I generally don't edit stuff out, it really doesn't give me enough time to fully utilize maps. And I do want to be able to do some more of that, and the zipline's going to help that happen. But enough talking, let's go ahead and get into the nitty-gritty of what we're going to accomplish today. Starting with this thing right here. I asked you guys in the last video if you thought my idea was neat about putting in these tiered floodgates, and pretty much universal response to that was absolutely, make it happen, that's pretty cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to do just that. And we do still have to raise this up a little bit. So what I think we want to do here is we want to put in, see if I can remember how I was going to do this. Yeah, we want to put in a levee here, and we want to put in a double floodgate on top of that one. And then, oh, these are adjoining. Let's not do that. Well, we'll get it figured out. We'll get this built, and then I'm going to start building back behind it, because if we can't use the water we're already pumping, then bad things are going to happen. So it's going to happen in stages, but I am going to do what I told you about last time, because I think that's pretty sweet. Just all sorts of fun ideas we can do. But enough about that. Other stuff you guys wanted to see was a little bit more in the way of industrial efficiency, and that's going to be a little challenging over here, but we can make it work. We can start funneling water through, getting a little bit more stable power generation, and we can get rid of these dams just as soon as I'm pretty sure we're not going to get any beavers stuck. But we'll take these out, replace them with some platforms once we have planks, that is. I'm not that dumb, usually, to remove myself from my plank production and strand beavers as a result of that, but, you know, never say never. Something stupid can always happen, even though it's not intentional. Another suggestion we received was to raise this water dump up one so that this would irrigate a larger portion of this area, and I think that's a good idea, and I would like to start doing it, but it's not the most important thing right now, so I am going to go ahead and place these, but deprioritize all of this. We are going to have to move this as well, and that's going to be part of it. But I don't want to commit just yet to getting this taken care of before it's too late. Next thing that we're going to take care of in here is I'm going to remove this. Because as funny as this is, this really doesn't need to be here. We're going to solve a bunch of other problems with water pumping as well. So that can go away. And instead, what's going to happen here is I'm going to put the water fluid dump, rather, on this side of these levees. Because as you guys suggested, or a couple of you suggested at least, since this river is basically never going to be a problem anymore, moving this irrigation from here, where it's really not going to be doing that much, to over here, where it's going to give us a little bit more land irrigated, I think it's going to be a good move. So that's going to be something we can let them take care of in due time and continue with what we are attempting to get done, which is, of course, advance as much as we can, as quickly as we can, without, you know, putting stuff aside to just rush through things and make some nice progress. Regarding the wheat, the thought seems to be that maybe wheat is a little bit not necessary at this exact moment, but consider it takes time to grow, and we don't normally do anything with it this soon, so I thought it would be kind of fun to just kind of throw the whole thing into chaos, food-wise. Not bad chaos, just interesting chaos. And start making stuff with the wheat earlier. Remember, the grist mill does require power, but, you know, we have a pretty decent, well, theoretically, a pretty decent power setup, assuming the water comes through here quickly enough, which may not be the case until we get everything redone. But outside of that, you know, 180 science for the grist mill, and then another 160 for the bakery. And it's really not that much to start making bread. And 1 bit of wheat flour can get turned into 5 loaves of bread, which is pretty good. And 1 unit of wheat grown turns into 1 unit of wheat flour. And 1 wheat planted, 1 square of wheat planted turns into 3 wheat when it grows. So 1 square every 10 days can turn into 15 loaves of bread. That's not bad. It's not as efficient as, you know, some of the other stuff, but it really is a pretty good thing to get ahead of early. Especially because, you know, we have the bakery that can make other stuff as well, like, for example, the maple pastries, which we haven't even planted any maple trees yet. Operative term being yet. But we will at some point get all that taken care of. So, now the water's flowing through here a little bit better. Things are looking pretty good. And I'm going to go ahead, since we have these 2 unemployed beavers, and I'm going to say that it's time, even though we're going to probably end up moving this at some point, it's going to make more sense for us to just go ahead and put in another lumber mill right here. I am going to flip this so that power can be attached here. But yeah, just get these guys something else to do. Get stuff nice and built. Prioritize this because this is currently... Well, they can't reach it, first of all. I guess that would be a pretty severe problem in terms of, hey, we can't do this. Well, you can't get to it. All right, well, whose fault is that? It's my fault. Spoiler alert. This floodgate is now finished. That wasn't last time, last I checked on it, so that's good. Reminder that this is all manual right now, so if we get a bad tide, we have to make sure that we check all these floodgates and that we're not going to cause too many terrible problems. But as it stands now, things are looking really good. And I don't feel like it's going to be a problem for us to continue moving into some other fun stuff. We have these double lodges that we've been slowly replacing other housing with. I'll flip this so we can use this up here. And again, just very slowly working our way through. I'm going to put some sort of well-being thing here eventually. But this needs to be prioritized as well. And let's start thinking about how we're going to get over here. It's not going to be hard. We just are going to have to take a little bit of time. Hey, you know what? I didn't see this before. That looks pretty cool. I like the uneven archway created by the 4x1 and the 2x1. There's just so much cool detail on this map that I'd never really have had the chance to look at yet. And I appreciate that. It's very, very enjoyable to play. But yeah, these blockages need to go away for us to be able to get through here. Go ahead and figure out a pathing strategy. Shouldn't be too terribly hard. Just get that situated here. I made a mistake. Alright, let's fix that. Thank you, autosave, for completely moving my camera around. There we go. Now it's connected. I was wondering why we didn't have the little green line show up, and then, well, that one was my fault. So, coming in through here, I'm just going to leave the path down here in the water so we get a little bit of a wet fur bonus. This isn't contaminated. Famous last words. I'm sure that the next thing we get is going to be a bad tide, and then we're going to be in some trouble. But for right now, that is not a concern. So I will go ahead and place this here. Just connect right through the middle. And then I suppose I could just go this way. We have some other trees here, which is great. Give us a nice starting base of operations. And I think what might be kind of fun, remember, Ziplines are only internal to a single district, so we can't use them as district crossings. But we got this little gap here. What if we had a zipline go straight through the center of that and give us a really nice, quick transportation option from this main area over here? I think that would be a cool first thing to build. Again, I'm not promising that we're going to get to that in this episode, but you know, trying to think forward and moving along as much as we can. Now, I have science. Got 815. I'm going to go ahead and unlock the scavenger flag, even though we can't build it yet. We're not over here, but I want to make sure it's ready to go when that time comes. And I'm going to put in a large pile right next to it. Well, okay, I lied. I'll put it right here because I want them to be able to get around to all parts of it. Get that taken care of. I don't think I have enough extra beavers yet to take care of too much more of this. But we'll keep this in mind as we're going along. They have obviously got a lot of planks to be making, which is why I did prioritize this thing. Oh, you know what? I forgot to prioritize the platform, which requires planks. I do have the gear workshop paused because we do not need to be turning our planks into additional gears at this moment in time. Oh, they decided they're going to build the tank first, even though something else was prioritized. Well, water storage is good and very important, so that is fine, I suppose. End of day 2. You know what we need to focus on? And I keep saying this and I haven't done it yet, so that's a bad thing. We need to put in some water pumping up here. We need to start storing additional water. So I'm going to move this up to, let's say, 1.8. Because we don't have a guarantee that we're going to have more than 3 or 4 days of clean, temperate water here. So we want to make sure we get that going. And we need to be pumping. Absolutely must be pumping. The geography here is not really going to be kind in that regard. But I think it's going to be worth coming in here, go ahead and clean this up, and get rid of that staircase because it does have some planks. And then once that's taken care of, then I can get rid of this one. We'll get some more planks back. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move over, I suppose right here probably makes the most sense. Put that back down. Obviously we have to get these trees out of the way, which should not be that big of a deal. Mark those for cutting, just those 3 right there. And we'll continue along what we were working on beforehand last time. Trying to do the best that we can. Remember, we can't get in here yet, but I don't think it's going to be possible during this temperate cycle to get that done anyway, so I'm just going to choose not to worry about it. And instead, we'll focus on some other stuff. But seeing how these trees are all gone, we don't need to have those green things absolutely everywhere. Even if it doesn't matter, I do think that is a good thing to just kind of keep on top of. Let's go ahead and get into double speed here. Start of day 3. Are we going to get that warning? No, looks like we've got another day to spare, which is very good. And it looks like they're going to be working on this platform now that we have... No! Actually, I lied. I thought this was going to be finished, and that's what was going to take a little bit more time. But yeah, they're getting that taken care of, which means we're going to have this lumber mill hopefully sooner rather than later. And then we can continue working as necessary. Now, we have trees here. I know there are a lot of them planted at the same time. And that, well, it is what it is. We'll just say that. But remember, we do still have trees here that we are pretty close to once these stairs are put in place, that is. And we shouldn't feel too badly about that. Let's go ahead and get these paths out of the way. The reason I have this staircase coming over this side here is because I want to put in pumps in this area where this is deeper, or deep enough where it's not going to be that big of a problem. But before we get there, we have to have some trees cut down, so obviously that is a concern. I don't know which ones of these are at which percentage. Forgive me. Oh, hey, here's one. Perfect. Get that taken care of. We got tanks ready to go there. No other trees I can really easily cut down without too much grief. Yeah, that's just not going to be worth pursuing at this exact moment in time. This needs planks, which needs logs, which needs these trees to get put in. You know, it's working. It's working. We're making it through. But we're going to be in some trouble if we don't have any more water coming in, which is why I'm trying, yes, very slowly, but I am trying to get to a point where we can start building some pumps up here. I would love very much to be able to just have a bunch in a line here, but the geography isn't really going to permit that quite yet. But I can come into a place like, say, right here and get pretty close, and not feel too badly about it. Just gonna take some time. Fortunately, this one's ready to go, and then our lumberjack here will be able to continue cutting some other trees down. Things should accelerate a little bit. We did kind of exhaust our initial batch of oak trees, if you will. The small patch that was planted alongside all of the birches and the pine trees and everything like that. So it'll even out in due time, and we will continue getting access to additional patches of trees. And those problems should end up solving themselves, more or less. But we are kind of running out of time to get the rest of this done, so that's going to be a necessary thing. Now, I've got space up here. Remember, Folktails water pumps have a maximum depth of 2. The large water pump has a maximum depth of 4, but we haven't quite gotten there yet. So, if I put this guy up here, this wouldn't really do anything, because the maximum depth while these levees are in this spot means, you know, this isn't going to pick up any water. So the best we can hope for is to put one of these guys here, and then to put another one here with the help of some scaffolding that we're going to put in at some point as we continue with things. Go ahead and just mark these all for cutting. I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal, and this isn't going to be able to reach every... Oh, it is. Well, I stand thoroughly corrected. But yeah, like I was saying, let's go ahead while we can and put this water pump in place. Get some more water pumping. Put in a little storage right here for some water to come out. Set that to supply, and that should be a pretty cut and dry. Well, not dry because it's a water pump, so hopefully it's wet. But you get what I'm you get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying. See, all of this is going to be eventually part of the same thing. We just have to figure out how we're going to do it. And I think putting these levees in is going to be a... I don't really have the wood to do it right now, but we need to do it at some point before things get too crazy. So a triple platform here, and then extending these levees this way is going to allow me to place, once the paths are gone, a water pump in this spot here, with the straw extending down that way, which should have a full 2-block depth submerged when everything is all said and done. But this guy's looking good to go here, and I think that is good progress. Have they started here? They have! They have, and they're working on getting that cleared out. Again, this isn't mission critical that this happens right now, but I figured we might as well go ahead and start, because the faster we have metal, the faster we can get into these things, and I am super excited to get into the ziplines. Plus, you know, there's a bunch of trees here. Just gotta do what we gotta do. So I've got another spot right here where I could put in another double lodge, continue getting some more beavers in. But I don't want to grow too quickly. That's a frequent mistake I feel like Folktales players can make, is to just grow stuff way too fast, and then bad things happen. Fortunately, though, we have the ability, we have the know-how, and most importantly, we have the comment section that's going to hold me to task here. So we are going to be able to put in platforms here and here, and then because this is a second story entrance, I've got space back here to put in a little secluded medical bed for future needs, and to just kind of organically grow what we've got going on back here, get this stuff set in place, and eventually start making some really nice progress. Now let's go ahead and get this connected here. And then they can move on to these stairs, and then eventually this pile, and this scavenger flag, and then probably come in here and get these trees. And then we've got some nice progress being made. And someone forgot to put this thing right here, so that's a little bit of an embarrassing thing to have to live up to. But it's fine. Let's get this triple platform unlocked, because we do need to start this process of getting this deepened, even if we're not going to be able to actually get it done before we have the next drought or bad tide. You know, progress has to start for it to be finished. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Just got to do it. And again, I don't want to get rid of this floodgate yet until we are certain that I'm going to have time to mess with the rest of it. Because one of the worst things I could do, if we're going to need to have a stable water supply for a drought that is going to be getting longer and longer, is to just get rid of this thing and all the water goes away, and then suddenly we don't have any water for half a drought and a bunch of beavers die. That would be embarrassing. And despite what it may seem, I do not like doing that. It's just one of those things that kind of happens. Hey, look at this. Look at this. We got our extra trees irrigated. I was kind of hoping it would reach up to here, but I know it doesn't travel vertically too much. Wow. Oh, there it is. Never mind. I was about to say, wow, I can't believe it's going to be day 6 and we still don't have the warning. But no, we got a bad tide coming in 3 days. But we don't need to freak out, because remember, a couple episodes ago at this point now, we've started this diversion thing. And this area, at least, is going to be in a really good shape to prevent this kind of nonsense from impacting us. All we got to do before the bad tide starts is raise this guy, lower this guy, and that's it. Our whole area here is going to be taken care of. However, this area is not. It is absolutely not. We have this wonderful, wonderful design element of the map here that hides a couple of water sources. And by a couple, I mean 4. The bad news is this is going to be, of course, bad water as soon as this bad tide starts, which means all of this is going to be real ugly. Real ugly for at least a couple days. First bad tide usually is pretty short, but this is hard mode, so it could be a couple more days. I think in normal it's usually like a single day, which, alright, who cares, right? But that's going to mean we can't send our beavers across here. So, selfishly, I want to go ahead and try to get some scrap metal over here and see what we're going to be able to do. Let's see, 6 logs. Yeah, that's going to be totally fine for us to put in a little storage on this side as well, just to get it a little bit closer. Just a little bit closer. If they have the time to build this. If not, it's not a big deal. This will flesh out relatively quickly. But I still think it would be really fun to have some scrap metal to play with. And depending on how good we do with this, maybe even start smelting. We do have to have 30 to build a smelter, along with, you know, the rest of these planks and gears and all that stuff. But we're thinking big. We're trying to make some good progress without it being just completely obnoxious. Trying being the operative term. Now, I do have 2 more days, so let's actually take this out of double speed and continue working on this. It is a shame they're not going to be able to reach all the way over here. And I know they can't get the rest of this fully taken care of before this bad tide starts. But, oh man, how cool would that be? How cool would that be? It's fine. It's fine. So, because of the design of this, I actually don't think this is a very smart way to do this anymore. We're going to have to move it out a little bit. But, again, I'm not going to delete this stuff yet. Not going to delete it. We can talk about it, though. Because the reason I put this in this single, gap right here is because it was the only, oh, I still have this layer thing peeled back. It was the only thing I needed to do, right? Hope that makes sense. But if we're going to have the tiered floodgates like we talked about before, it's really not going to be that viable of an option. We're going to have to build in some sort of extra, well, dams, but extra levees somewhere to get this thing to work fully like it's supposed to. Remember that this is going to be 1 more block higher, or I can just say, you know what, 500 science, I'm getting the triple floodgate, and then that's going to be what it's going to be. So for right now, let's just... They haven't started building this. Let's just get rid of this, and come back to this after the bad tide is over so we can think a little bit more clearly without some of the noise. But, you know, they might as well go ahead and get this levee in place while we can. No reason not to do that. But I imagine what's probably going to happen is I'm going to end up putting more levees here that we can continue building from ground level. And then we'll figure out some sort of solution for our multi-tiered mess that I have yet to develop a good name for. Sure would have loved to have one more tile of height here, but you know how it goes. Oh, wait, nobody's pumping this? Oh, no, that's not going to work at all. That's not going to work at all. Let's take 2 beavers out of the hauling post, because that's not really that big of a deal right now. Because, yeah, we got to have these guys pumping. We don't know how long the bad tide is going to be, and we don't want to take any chances. Is this tree out of range of cutting? No, it is not. Is it marked for cutting? Yes, it is. Okay, so they're just taking their time. We have some scrap metal, a very, very small amount, 2, which, wait, did they bring it all the way over here? Alright, let's, I guess I don't need to have that set to obtain. Because that might, yeah, oh, he's, okay, he's probably having to go all the way over here to take care of that, but we'll just leave that alone. We can't forget to cut off access to this before it's too late, so, I mean, you can't communicate telepathically to me in the past unless you have that ability, in which case, if you did, I would already know because it would have happened. But it hasn't, so clearly you can't do it. Unless you can, and it just hasn't happened yet. But before my brain combusts, let's move on to something else. We're making plenty of planks. I do think it's probably a smart idea for us to start turning some of those into gears again, especially because we're about to lose power for a little bit. So, well, lose most of our power. I'm going to turn that back on. I think I can run all 3 of these at once. We just need to make sure that we're utilizing our laborers effectively. This fluid dump, remember, we can't automate these yet. So I'm just going to pause that. It's not really a big deal at all. Things are looking fine otherwise. Honestly, I probably should have the builders' huts deprioritized the most, since we're not really trying to rush anything. The inventors we do need to have going on. I'm just going to pause this thing. I'm just going to pause it. There's no reason not to. And in fact, I need to get another beaver back in the hauling post. I always forget that if we're not having an active large building project, we really don't need to have all these guys in here. We already have 4. That's probably okay for the most part. Yeah. Get that scrap metal. Before sunset on the final day, we are going to have to cut them off here and hope for the best. But we started, we made some nice early progress on metal, and that is always a good thing. The most pressing needs, as always, water and food. And we haven't done a tremendous job of expanding our food variety or capacity for making grilled potatoes, or even capacity to store the grilled potatoes. And that's something that does need to be fixed. I've got a bunch of berries that we really don't need. And we're not really even growing carrots fast enough for this to be an issue. So for right now, let's just make this for grilled potato storage again. We do have 3 beavers working on this. And I was going to move the farmhouse, but now I'm not really exactly sure where I want it to go. Because if I raise this up one more level, then all I've got to do to make this a little bit more of a usable area here is I just got to put this guy, say, right about here, and then we can have another farmhouse up here, nice and easy. I don't have to have this path here, which, you know, doesn't really help for farming purposes, but does make it a little bit less ugly of a thing here. Just lots to think about. Lots to think about as we continue moving forward, including what's going to happen when all these trees die out. Well, I mean, not really that much is going to happen, but we're going to want to get rid of them. We don't know how long the bad tide is going to be. Eventually, I do want to build a diversion thing, maybe with just a big tower that just shoves it off the side of the map or something to that effect. But that is something that's going to come along a little bit later. Just need to make sure that we are storing about as much water as we can, which, you know, isn't going to be too terribly much. But I digress. Just let them do what they've got to do. All right, so we got 0.7 days left. We got a cool 11 scrap metal. Yeah, woohoo. Whole lot of scrap metal going on. I'm going to say, is this, yeah, I'm gonna pause this flag. So no one's going to be tempted at all to go get stuff. But now, these guys are going to pop over here and start grabbing the material out of the paused building, which we definitely wanted to do now and not at the start of the bad tide. So this is why we're doing this quickly. Just deposit it, make your way across, and then we're going to close this for safety purposes. Just bye-bye. Totally unconnected. No one can get to it because hopefully it should be way far out of range of anyone's concerns. Yeah, I'm sure something bad is still going to happen because it usually does. But now we've done all we can, and we can just continue working on the rest of this stuff. The good news is, if this is a bad tide that is longer, we'll continue draining this pool slowly, and once it drains to the point that we can actually demolish this floodgate and continue expanding the height, then that is going to be a super, super easy thing for us to do. But you know what? Might actually make more sense from a construction perspective. Why don't we just extend this out this way? Just in a completely straight line. I think that's going to make so much more sense, and then that'll be easier to build here as well. But I can't delete these yet, because we're holding water there. We're just thinking. 0.1 days. I can't let that change until we have everything set up correctly. I think I'm going to go ahead and say close that, open that, and now we should be completely ready to go. I get that up to 2.0, which again shouldn't really matter that much because this has been more or less completely good. I'm going to open this a tiny bit more to let a little bit more water in, but we're going to close that lickety split just as soon as this changes over. How long is the bad tide going to be? Let's find out. Come on. 10 days? The first bad tide is 10 days? Hold the phone. Okay. That's not what I expected at all. That's actually kind of concerningly long. Oh, boy. Well, we have the diversion in place. It's not going to be any stronger of a tide or anything, so we're totally okay here. Everything is perfectly fine. But what's going to happen is this is going to kill all of these trees, and more importantly, this is going to test our irrigation stuff, because 10 days is enough time for all of this water to evaporate, and if we're continuing to pump, it's going to be even quicker, and especially if this guy continues to pump, he's going to run out of water to pump inside of maybe 2 or 3 days. So we'll see what happens. I mean, we have almost 600 stored right now. We're probably fine, but I am kind of more concerned about the trees dying than anything else. I mean, the oaks are not going to die 10 days of no water. They would die. They would die with 10 days of contaminated water. Fortunately, no contamination is going to occur. But, oh man, that's a shame. All these trees are definitely going to die of bad water poisoning for a 10-day bad tide. But because we removed access, we shouldn't have anybody trying to, waltz through here and get super infected and then get mad. So that's good at the very least. That kind of changes my strategy here. New plan of emphasis. Get rid of this fluid dump. Get rid of these stairs because we're not really going to need them. And then we need to have these things filled in, folks. We need to have those things filled in, and that's going to be a not super quick process. Well, I guess it's not going to be that bad if I just put a platform here so they can access everything else. But I was of the impression that this was going to be a much quicker, much more simple plan. Okay, so a new plan. Instead of wasting one of these, I said new plan too many times. Instead of wasting one of these here, why don't we put, yeah, I know, don't build one, build 6 of them, but look, there's a reason behind this. You put this guy here, and then you can put a farmhouse on top of it. and you don't take up any plantable space. So that, I think, is going to be a good way to go about it. You put these guys in here, they can build all this mess without anything else, and then we have a little bit of extra space for whatever they're wanting to do. I think that's going to be tremendous. Actually, you know what? No, let's not put it on that side. And I'm just driving some of you absolutely insane right now. That's fine. Put this in here. Put this in here. And then that uses less wood while still being able to put a farmhouse on top of it. And then I can just put in the water dump right next door. And if I feel like it, I could actually... No. Okay. I'm getting too crafty here, and that's not something that I'm really good at without causing problems. So let's do that. We don't need these paths over here, so just get rid of all that. Once this is up high enough, then that's really going to help us out a tremendous amount. Yeah, that'll be great. That'll be great right there. I'm not going to put it up yet, but this should irrigate most of this bit, and we can grow some other crops, kind of stratify our production a little bit, which will be super nice. Our storage for water is full. So, I know we got a lot of unemployed beavers right now, which could be a dangerous thing for us, depending on what we want to be doing. I'm going to pause these 3 water pumps, and because science is going to be so incredibly important, let's go ahead and get a couple more inventors put in. I know that's going to be something that we're really going to want to take advantage of. Do I want those to be that close, or do I want to come up here? I guess up here is probably fine. Put 2 of those right there. They're not super expensive to build. I know we don't have a ton of wood right now, but we are going to continue getting it slowly. Getting more inventors in place for idle beavers is a very good early, quote-unquote, early game strategy. Because remember, all this fun stuff we want to play with has a cost. 700 science, 500 science, 600 science. And, you know, there's other things along the way, too, that are going to require that, which include the smelter. Not the mine yet, but... Well, I forgot the Folktails have a terrible mine recipe. Very slow. But we do need to have the smelter as well, and then plenty of other things, so we might as well just go ahead, take a little bit more time, and put in some inventors to keep these guys occupied, and of course unpause this builder's hut so we can use their labor to construct it. And take a look at some more of these trees. That's at 69, 59, 7%. Yeah, we've got a couple more here coming online pretty soon that we should be able to make some pretty good progress with. As water level drops in here, we will let some out. 10 days, I don't know if 10 days is going to be enough time for us to fully drain this to the point where I can actually utilize what I'm attempting to be doing here. But what we can do is, since this levee is no longer going to be here, I can get rid of that. And I know they can't access this yet, but they will soon. As the water level continues to drop, we'll make this accessible. What else? What else can we find ourselves taking care of here? Probably is worth getting access to some of these other trees. I know we have got a bunch up here. But this one seems like the biggest no-brainer. Unfortunately, I didn't think to come up over here, so what we're going to need to do to gain access to this side is probably just put in some platforms there. It's going to use less in the way of materials than just putting a couple staircases in. Well, that's explicitly not true, but it's going to make more sense. Like, would you rather I do that? Because, like, come on, man. Like, that saves 2 logs. Well, like, what's the point? That just looks weird. Just looks weird. Just get that guy across there. Get a couple of lumberjack flags. They can get those taken care of, because we do still have the extra beavers. Get this set up and ready to go for cutting. These are all completely cut, so we can just get rid of that. Not a problem whatsoever. And let's see. This is actually actually pretty close to being done. I was surprised there. Cool. I can definitely get rid of that fluid dump. We know we're not going to need that. That gets us some logs and some planks back. Keep an eye on our water here. It shouldn't be a problem. And there we go. Let's get this on triple speed. Take a brief water sip break. Hydration is good for you. And water is the best way. So you can see there's actually a little bit of water here that hasn't been completely turned into bad yet. I mean, we are still only one day into the tide, so I'm sure there's going to be a decent bit of additional tree death occurring here. But, so, okay, never mind. Never mind. As soon as I was going to say something, these start drying out, and then they're going to get that nasty tendrils of bad water contamination creeping in there, so that's no good. But we got these guys working, which is nice. Making some more science in our limited downtime. Okay, well this is a fool's errand, what I've done here. Yeah, this poor beaver can only run fast enough to, well, currently, can only run fast enough to operate this one lumber mill at 100% efficiency, so we're just gonna roll with that, be totally fine, and continue moving right along. Now, you'll notice, back here, we have a rather quick bad water stream because all of the bad water is being brought through this side. But, I mean, outside of that, remember, we do have 2 bad water sources here, and I believe the default strength on these is 3, but let's find out in dev mode here. Yeah, 3 strength, 3 strength. So, that's a total of 6 strength. There you go. Coming through that slot right there, and we do have these guys here that are going to be a similar amount addition to that. But it's probably going to make sense long-term, like I said, and some of you suggested, to try to harness this bad water for the purpose of fluid power generation. It's going to be a little bit more consistent than running it through wheels here, and then there's also some other space that is kind of unusable for anything else. And we also have these guys nice and close, so that should be fine as well. Again, the bad water dome can be opened or closed at will, and a couple of you, I think, thought that I misunderstood what this did, but what I was trying to say, and that was my fault for communication failure, what I was trying to say is that we can't force bad water to come out of the ground with the bad water dome like the Iron Teeth version can. But we can shut these off, or we can have it open. That is an option. We just can't force it to always be on. So we again, we can utilize this for power. Probably should at some point. It is going to take a little bit of time to get there. And we'll be doing our best, in theory, when the time comes for us to be able to take care of stuff. Look at this. We're pumping here. We're pumping here. We're going to let them do their thing until this is all pumped completely dry. And then at that point, we don't really need to keep water in here. It is only 6 days left in this bad tide. So we probably could get started on bringing this down as well. They cut those trees down quick. Alright, so those are done. What other trees are nearby and also not in... Yeah, these are all dead. They're all going to be super dead as soon as this gets more and more contaminated. And this isn't going to clean out either. Ooh, that's not fun. That's going to hold nasty for a long time. Oh well, life goes on. There's trees up here, but these are just pines, and I don't have ladders, so that's not really ideal. Yeah, the thing that makes the most sense is to just come up over here. Oh man, how do I want to do this? How do I want to do this? And actually, this probably needs to be raised too once we get to that point. Huh. Yeah, because this is all pretty level height here. This could go... Oh yeah, that could go all the way up. All the way up, all the way across. Oh, but that's a lot of wood though. Or is it? It actually wouldn't really be that much more. Wouldn't really be that much more. Do I have enough to do anything though? I've got enough to make like, I don't know, 3.5, 4 levee pieces. In addition to whatever stairs and stuff I'd have to build to get up. Other spots. Well, you know, if it's worth doing, it's worth doing. Let's go ahead, get that water pump out of here, get that tank out of here, and, you know, no guts, no glory, whatever you want to say. Let's make this happen, folks. Levee here to start, and then I have the science. I might as well, but before we do anything else with the floodgates, this is already going to be open for the next 4 days, and there's enough wood on this other side to make it worth, quote-unquote, wasting a platform. So if I just go ahead and get rid of this, get this over here. Yeah, there we go. Bring them over here. Mark these trees for cutting. At the very top here. And then we unlocked the triple platform, so I can just go ahead and build that. Yeah, now we're cooking. Now we're cooking. That's in full range there. That's in full range there. I'll get those 3 things rocking and rolling, and then we can get up to some funny business with this. The only, I'm not going to say the only, but like the majorly annoying part about this is, you know, how this has been set up. But I can't do anything with it yet because of, you know, the whole bad water thing. But that will not be too difficult to take care of. Get those guys going there. But this is now low enough for me to go ahead and get rid of that. Let's replenish. We got 3-something days. I'm just going to open this all the way up. Fill this trench. And let it be what it's going to be. Which is also going to allow me to take that out, that out, that out, that out, that out. And completely level this. Maybe a little tiny bit of flooding. But we're not going to waste it. Just going to equalize very nicely. And since this is a thing, and we know we can put we can put what are these called? Levees? Yeah, there you go. We can put levees on top of this. Oh yeah, we're going to solve so many problems. Just get that going there. Get that going there, 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 and there. You don't have all this wood yet. I know. I know. We're going to get there. We're going to get there. No need to worry about it. We're doing work. We're getting stuff done, folks. No excuses, only dreams. And guess what? I now have space here to try and do kind of what I was talking about before with our tiered floodgates. And our total height here is now, yeah, that's a 6, which means, gasp, is that justification for triple floodgates? It just might be. It just might be. Oh yes, friends. We're doing it. We're doing it. So if I put that there and that there, that is 6 tiles high worth of flexible floodgate. And all I've got to do to make this viable is just pop that in there. And in fact, I don't need to have this here at all. I can... there we go. I just wasted 6 logs doing this. But, yeah. You get the point. Just pop that in there. Nice and easy. And this is gonna be pretty cool. It's gonna be pretty cool. Very modular. I like this design. I'm glad you guys like that too. And I hope you can forgive my kind of disjointed narration of this. I'm trying in my mind to kind of rectify my thoughts, your thoughts, and the general ideas that I had. And it doesn't always end up making a ton of sense, but I appreciate you bearing with me on that. So that shouldn't take too much longer. I know they got rid of these trees, but we have more down here. Got more down here. Ah, 81%. That's a shame. Well, that'll work. I guess I could get at these as well, but we'll take it one bit at a time. Oh, we got wheat. Too bad I don't have a whole lot of power right now. This is going to have some here, but that's a little low for us to get to. Windmills. I guess it's worth getting one of these. But wait a second. I've been negligent. Oh, I'm going to get flamed for this. We got half our beavers thirsty. because somebody forgot. More misplaced zeal once again. But we can pump this. We can pump this. We got 1 day left. Got a day left. They can get going. I mean, it's so awful that I've forgotten this. What else is new? What else is new, you say? Well, nothing. Nothing is new. I do this all the time, because apparently that's how my brain works, but that's, it's neither here nor there. They're going to have this mostly ready to go. And hopefully, if we can get the rest of these trees out that I want to get out, I can go ahead and put another triple floodgate in there. And, oh yeah, we need to get over here too. That's unfortunate. I think this is fine. I think it's probably fine. I can build the triple floodgate from the bottom, but I can't build this triple height thing here. Yeah. Yeah, I'm starting to see some of the other problems in my logic, but that's fine. That's the way it goes. Well, at least we're not completely out of water. That's a good thing. Now come grab the rest of these logs so I can put this other floodgate back in, because we are losing water with a quickness. I'm going to turn that back on. Get this flooding back in here, because now it's all clean at least. Alright, 82%, 62%, 62%. Alright, I no longer have any desire to worry about this. I will leave that in place, get that out, and we'll start putting in triple floodgate here, because we definitely need it. Prioritize, prioritize, prioritize. Right now, we got to get this thing going. Look at this! Look at this! We're gonna get this done, folks. We're gonna get it done. I know it's the beginning of a cycle, and I probably could have started a new episode, but I am excited to see this in place. There's no point in building these yet until this is taken care of, which hopefully isn't too much longer. And as soon as we have water flowing through here, remember when I was gonna, fix this and I didn't do that? Well, we'll get there. We'll get there. You gotta trust the process. Screaming sounds can be heard from some of your computers right now, and that's fine. I want you to know that I appreciate you. Go ahead and lower this before everything floods, because I definitely forgot. Get that little bit of surge out of the way, and then ease this back up. Say 0.85. All right, now that can get nice and filled up. We'll just let this go all the way. That is set to 2.85, so we're gonna get the full height of this thing right here, and that's gonna go across this mess because they can't get into this area here until I build all of this and get rid of that. Hey, drought in 3 days, so we might not even have to worry about this. We'll just fill this whole mess up right here. Why not? Why not? We got 3 days. Just. Oh yeah, you know what? Actually, that's a pretty nice amount of water storage if we have all of this taken care of. All right, I need more beavers. I need more beavers. I need more planks. I need most of everything. But let's take this out at triple speed here. Is this clean enough? I mean, probably, but after all that, right? I don't want to risk it. Don't want to risk it. And our food is getting pretty low. Pretty low. The potatoes aren't really cutting it anymore, which again is why I wanted to have this in place. Let's get smart about this. Let's not put in another farmhouse yet, because I don't have the beavers to staff it. What we need to be doing is pumping more water, which, yes, is the reason why I was building all of this mess up here. There's a method to the madness. Might not be, your favorite method, but it is a method. It is technically going to work. Yes, that's going to work out. Hopefully a little bit nicer. I can put another one of those there if I do 2 more of these double platforms. Because I did say we're going to move stuff up here. This one can get flopped if I really feel like it, but I don't think that's going to be, strictly speaking, necessary. 2 of these up here is going to be tremendously good for this upcoming long drought, even though it's kind of far away. We're making it work. We just need more beavers. Need more beavers. So, I'm going to start building some more of these regular lodges. I think that's probably fine, even though they don't really visually mesh too terribly well with what we've got going on over here. We just need the capacity. We got to keep growing. Got to keep building. Got to keep moving toward getting our ziplines taken care of. I told you it wasn't going to be this episode. But the good thing about a drought is that this is going to dry out, and then we'll have absolutely unfettered access to this. We can really put some effort into that next episode and make sure that everything is going to be nice and squeaky clean. Get it? Because these squeak. Okay, that was terrible. I'll see myself out. Well, in a couple minutes when we're finished with this this pre-drought warning. But I believe, folks, this was a tremendous success. Increasing our capacity quite a lot more than you might think as well. This is a lot more water, probably at least twice as much as what we started with. And we have our little modular mess here. Oh, is this not enough? That's not enough outflow, is it? Or is that just, is that going to equal out? It looks like it might. Okay, not quite. Not quite. That needs to be 2.75, I think. Let's give that a shot. I mean, if this overflows, it's not really a big deal, but I would like it to be... better. Alright, so if that's at 2.75, don't forget, we also have this one. If I put that at 2.75, then that should really help. That should really help this calm down a little bit. Hey, cool, just like that, huh? So, I know the waterfall limit is like crying and screaming and throwing up right now because I managed to do this nonsense. But I think we're in a good shape. I'm going to lower this to 1.8 for the time being until this kind of figures itself out. Oh, wait, hold on. You don't need you to be up here. What I do need is I need this one tree to be cut down. I guess that's what they're working on. Yeah, let's get rid of these. Get this built. Get our water secured a little bit better. I have... Ooh, I don't. I don't have enough planks or gears to make a tank up here. But we're going to want to have one anyway. So let's get that set up. Set to supply. And, you know, they'll take care of it. They'll take care of it. Let's get, instead, all of these working while we have another 1.8 days worth of power coming through this. And we are going to have to rethink this as we continue moving forward. But remember, everything just takes time. Just takes time. So let's go ahead before we say goodbye, because we know food is a problem. Like, I can see the number going down. We're going to be fine. We're going to be okay. Remember, we have plenty of water stored up. But we do need to address it. Let's start the process of planting a bunch more stuff up here. And look how high this is. Look at this. We're going to get a lot, and I mean a lot of stuff planted up here. Obviously, the sunflowers are not really space efficient. We have carrots up here, but those don't seem to be growing in big enough numbers for that to really make a difference. Somehow, this is not enough potatoes, despite I guess, some creative wording on my excess amount of potatoes that some of you guys had in the comments. I thought was pretty funny. But we're going to go ahead and plant some more potatoes up here. We really don't need this much wheat right now. So, since we have the luxury of this other farmhouse up here, why, you know, there's really no harm in having sunflowers. I wasn't planning on putting some there, but that's fine. And then some extra carrots. And then maybe some more sunflowers over here as well. Just so we have stuff growing, and we know this is going to stay full. That's totally fine. We got water pumping. This is paused, but it probably shouldn't be. This was okay. That flooded. That's why that's full. But we don't need that fluid dump to be unpaused. These are all ready to go. I'm just like rapid fire thinking what needs to be taken care of before we enter extreme drought mode, most likely. Let's put this up to 2.8. And then 2.8 here as well. Try and get that a little bit higher. Of course, we're going to close this completely right before the drought starts, just so we have the absolute maximum. And I don't know how long of a drought we're going to get. Remember, hard mode is up to 30 days, and cycle 7 should be pretty close to the end of our handicap. So aside from that, they're working on the farmhouse here. What did we accomplish today? Because I know this was like a whirlwind of back and forth and squirrel chasing and so on and so forth. The biggest thing, and I really need to think of another title that I can use for this video, because I can't name like 3 videos in a row talking about irrigation and dams and stuff. Like, who wants to click on that? But this is tremendous to have this upgraded to this height. Made a little bit more sense doing it this way. Didn't get to the industrial stuff, but that's coming. This is going to be big. Additional farming space. And then, you know, honestly, this is probably clean enough as is. But we will wait for this to dry out, and then we'll get back over here with all of our metal. And I think that's going to be like the next episode thing, is getting this taken care of. And hopefully, because remember, we got science. We got science. Next episode, we can get into ziplines? Yeah? Yeah? Well, we'll have to see what happens. Last things, I promise. Before we get out of here, we've run out of power here. That's the real challenge during the droughts, is to have enough power. But we have windmills, and we have the science to unlock these. It's gonna make the most sense to just pop these guys in here, or at least one of them. I know it's ugly. It's not the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. But it is going to be necessary for us to be able to do what we want to be doing. And unfortunately, well, I guess fortunately for us, I can shut the gear workshop off. But unfortunately, we are going to be operating at half speed on the lumber mills. And that is just the way it's going to go for a little bit. But they'll take care of that. Shouldn't be a big deal. And we'll continue working on what we're going to be working on. Windmill goes here means I can also... And I know this is not the most efficient way to do this. Like, I'm fully aware. Like, please understand. But I don't have the resources currently to be building more than one windmill. So, just because I'm putting a grist mill over here, doesn't mean it's going to stay here forever. Let's make that abundantly clear. But we do have to actually have one of these. That was the wrong button. There we go. I'm going to put that guy there. Just because it's where the power is existing. Doesn't mean it's going to stay here, but we do need to start processing wheat flour. And then, I know it's not optimal. It's going to be okay. Don't worry. But we do need to start thinking about building the rest of this stuff. And we have to have the gears. So, again, it's a process. We got to trust it. Even if it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It is going to pay off in the end. We're just going to be waiting a little bit of time. This plank situation here is really not ideal, so I do think I'm going to deprioritize this construction and prioritize the windmill construction, because that is that's going to allow us to do more stuff down here, which means we can have more stuff quicker. So, that's it for this episode. Seriously, I cannot do this without your support. Cannot continue making boneheaded mistakes like letting this overflow. As soon as I start talking about how much fun I'm having playing the game's like, are you sure about that? And then does this garbage. Wait, hold on. Let's... Okay, this is synchronizing with adjacent floodgates, so why is it... Okay, no, I did this. I chose this. All right, behave, okay? I'm doing the episode outro, and we're doing Beard Booster scroll by. Don't flood. Don't do weird stuff, all right? All right? Can you do me that kindness? All right, I think we're fine. But yes, you see the names scrolling by on the screen. Those are folks who have all either directly or indirectly through being gifted a membership, directly supported the channel, directly or indirectly directly supported the channel. That's an all-timer right there. But you make it possible to keep doing videos every day and continuing the progression we have in all of our different series. And yes, tomorrow we are getting back into the other series as well. I did publish a community post, I guess last night, for everybody who's watching this video on the morning of the 9th. But we're going to be going back to different series. 3 days a week for this one, and 2 days a week each for the Ember Pelts and the Apocalypse Mode playthroughs. So, not to fear, everything is going totally fine except this rapidly lowering water levels, because why not? Why not? Just as soon as the drought's about to be upon us and I lose almost the entire additional capacity of this whole thing. Oh, come on, man. I swear I'm trying my best, and sometimes it just doesn't work. But what can you do? What can you do? We're doing our best. Oh, all that for a 10-day drought? Well, that's totally fine. Cycle 7, Day 6, 10-day drought incoming. I'll see you in the next episode of this series on Tuesday. Tomorrow we'll be back with the Ember Pelts, so get excited for that. Gonna be a fun one, folks. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.